Be in the know with unlimited access to IBJ and Inside Indiana Business. Our in-depth coverage of all things business means you'll always be completely in the know. Subscribe for just $1 a week. Get started now at ibj.com/trial offer.
This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Tuesday, December 16th, 2025. I'm Gary Dick. In the fall, Indiana State University welcomed its largest incoming freshman class in 5 years. And the Terre Haute institution is hoping to build on that momentum with a new strategic plan. That plan focused on curriculum, student experience, and unified people and processes, and fueling the state's talent pipeline. Indiana health officials are extending open enrollment for 2 major Medicaid programs through December 24th, giving more time for hundreds of thousands of Hoosiers facing a forced plan change to select another option. The Family and Social Services Administration announced that the Healthy Indiana Plan, or HIP, which serves low-income adults, and Pathways for Aging, the Medicaid program for older adults and people with disabilities, will remain open for plan selection for an additional week. A historic Vincennes candy shop is celebrating 70 years of making and serving up sweet treats. Charlie's Candies is located in the home of the original owners that was purchased in the 1950s. Co-owner Lorinda Ellerman says the company reached its goal this year of shipping products to all 50 states.
We also have a lot of out-of-towners. Again, being here 70 years, people that have moved or people that have been to Vincennes University and were introduced that way. And so we have shipped to every state now.
From the state's #1 source for Indiana business news, you're listening to Inside Indiana Business Radio. Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick, coming to you this week from Northwest Indiana, Jeffersonville, Muncie, South Bend, in downtown Evansville, Terre Haute, Fort Wayne, Richmond, from one of the state's key entrepreneurial and innovation hubs, 16 Tech. Inside Indiana Business, Indiana's business news leader. A failed push to redraw Indiana's congressional districts may have exposed divisions among Republicans who dominate the state legislature and with Governor Mike Braun. To what extent will likely be answered when lawmakers return to the State House.
Following Thursday's Senate vote to reject the House-approved redistricting plan, several legislators said they anticipate cooperation come January. Some put most of the blame for any animosity on national groups that tried to pressure legislators into supporting the new maps. State Senator Sue Glick of LaGrange, who voted against redistricting, says, quote, "There will be some hard feelings, but I thought we kept it under control," end quote. But some legislators were clearly offended by Braun's threats to support election challengers against Republican senators who didn't support the redrawn maps, including the chamber's GOP leader, Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray. Bray repeatedly said mid-decade redistricting had insufficient Senate support for it to pass, even with a pressure campaign, which included 2 trips by Vice President J.D. Vance to Indianapolis and phone calls by Trump to individual senators. In a statement following the Senate vote, Braun said he will continue working with the president to challenge these people who do not represent the best interests of Hoosiers. Abriana Herron, Inside Indiana Business Radio.
AHEPA Senior Living, a Fishers-based nonprofit provider of affordable housing and supportive services for older adults, has opened a 72-unit senior housing community in South Bend. The 500 Festival on Monday announced the appointment of longtime business and philanthropic leader Dave Neff as the organization's new president and CEO. Neff will take over for Bob Bryant, who's retiring after 12 years of leading the nonprofit. Neff has spent the past 2 years as CEO of the Boilermaker Alliance, Purdue University's exclusive NIL collective. This is Gary Dick for Inside Indiana Business Radio on demand.
Off the Record with Indiana's 250 most influential business and community leaders is a podcast that peels back the curtain on Indiana's most respected leaders, one episode at a time. Go beyond the headlines and hear the stories of grit and innovation that shape these leaders. Do you want to know who's driving our state forward? This is a must listen. Subscribe and listen wherever you get your podcasts or at ibjpodcast.com.
The IBJ Media Podcast Network is the soundtrack of a growing state. Indiana is on the move, and you can hear it happening on the IBJ Media Podcast Network. We bring you the voices at the center of our economy, our courts, our companies, and our communities. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation that's building Indiana's future. Find all of our shows by searching IBJ Media in your podcast app or visit ibjpodcasts.com.